Okay, so the completed animation test for the Owl House was released. Link in the description if you haven't already seen it. And with it came a whole lot of interesting details and insight into some of the show's original ideas, with so many different elements being altered since then, including the designs of several settings,
It's a little baby's burrow.
characters' names,
Hi, I'm Paulina.
and story beats throughout. It's thus been quite surprising to see how much stayed the same. We'd covered the main examples of this in the previous couple videos, thus showcasing the vast array of beats that never changed. But with so many of these original concepts ending up in the show, it all begs the question, what else from this animation test might we still see? There's still one episode remaining with a whole lot left to cover, which means ample opportunity to bring back some old ideas. And as so many elements of the current show seem to have been present in its earliest renditions, I wonder if anything in the final episode will also have roots going back that far. As we discussed in one of the previous videos, I don't think it was an accident that they released this right now, as it feels a little strange to focus on something from the beginning when we're now only a month away from experiencing the end. It could have just been random, or perhaps they're feeling sentimental, but I'd argued instead that this was a very tactical decision, with a couple key moments still hiding in these clips and now teasing us before their debut in the show's final episode. But if this is really the case, what moments could we see, and how would they fit with the story of closing out this iconic series? As so many of these ideas have already been represented in the show, they won't be a part of this list as they've already been established, and even though they're likely to have an impact on the finale, they aren't part of this category as we've already gotten to see them. An example of this would be King knowing magic, as it was different in the test but is still present in the show, so even though it could change or be of significant importance, its presence in the finale is not up for speculation. This only leaves a few moments that they might still be saving, as I'm only going to include the ones that we haven't seen at all. With three main ideas for what they might still put in the show, I'll express how the introduction of each could fit perfectly in the finale. Starting with my favorite clip from the entire animation test, it's interesting to think how long this design has been around, as while this imagery is already very present in the show, the context in which it's being used is unique, as this isn't a person being turned into a toy, but rather Luce's appearance being stolen and copied. It's not the same thing as what the collector has done, and so it still remains separate from anything else in the show. However, as its appearance certainly matches his style, this concept could be added as a new ability for the collector, and as he's already exhibited a manipulation over puppets, this newly revealed power would fit right in with the others. Perhaps this clip is foreshadowing an attack from the collector, as we know that he already has a vendetta against Luce, and so it's possible he could target her with a similar illusion, or even something more sinister like actually making a copy. Maybe we'll get a true Luce versus creepy Luce moment, like had been teased in a few episodes before the reveal of V, with Luce having to literally battle herself to get to King, all while providing a chance to expand on the collector's powers. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen this clip before, as in the Carnival episode there was the perfect opportunity where they could have just slipped it into the scene with the House of Mirrors, as this bit would work perfectly as one of Luce's reflections. By avoiding this, they were probably just making sure they didn't lean too far into horror, but perhaps this will be the episode that finally gets to do that, with Luce having to grapple with her own fears and insecurities, and potentially having to deal with even more trauma in the process. The next clip in the test that I think might also be traumatic, I mean significant in the finale, is the seemingly unassuming beat of Luce wielding Owlbird. As it's something we've shockingly never seen in the show, I wonder if the initial plans for her palisman were different, with her potentially being intended to just wield Owlbird instead, or at least use him intermittently until she got her own. However, seeing as in the show she now has her own palisman, this clip no longer expresses something that would actually happen literally. It's instead just the story beat that this moment represents that could then come to fruition through a similar scene in the finale. With Luce utilizing String Bean here in place of Owlbird, we'd get the most powerful version of Luce that we'd ever seen. And as it's Ida in this clip who needs to be saved by her, using Owlbird in this test now simply represents her arc, with Owlbird in this clip no longer representing himself, but rather the final graduation of Luce's abilities as a witch. Simply an homage to stepping up to Ida's level, with the student becoming the master to defeat their greatest enemy. It's the mere idea of this scene that I think we'll see in the finale, with Luce getting to wield Owlbird only metaphorically, as she's finally figured out what it means to be a true witch. Like, I think the arc that's being expressed here is what we're gonna see in the finale, not her actually wielding Owlbird. I hope that makes sense. In the original clip, there are several people they could be fighting, with it being very reminiscent of their battle with Adagast. The person holding Ida might just be any other villain, but as it's also been expressed that this could be a variant of Belos, perhaps this clip instead is setting up the final battle, where Luce can no longer rely on Ida to save her, and will instead need to step up and use everything she's learned. In keeping with this arc of Luce learning and evolving,
You keep learning and you keep fighting. What's not to like?
I think the final clip in the animation test encapsulates its end. It seems the original plan for the magic system was going to be quite different, with this variant of glyph magic seeing Luce using her hands, and potentially harnessing the energy within herself to perform a spell. But what if these different systems are more similar than they appear, with this method just representing the final version of her abilities? It's been theorized several times that Luce has a connection to the Titan, with it seeming to guide her in finding the glyphs where Philip had been shut out. Perhaps in the finale, this connection will finally come to fruition, with Luce gaining magic strong enough to take on the Collector. Just as all magic is said to be a gift from the Isles, perhaps Luce is going to receive what could be its biggest gift of all, and while it would most likely only be a temporary state, we'll see Luce wielding magic from within like in the test. I have a much bigger video about that theory coming soon, so please like and subscribe, as with only a month left until watching and dreaming, we have so many more ideas still coming for the finale. And let me know what you think we might still see in the show, as I'm curious to hear your theories too, because honestly, I don't know, man. And follow for the next one where we finally put a pin in this ongoing debate of where the heck is Owlbert? I also think we're going to see this again in the end. This is how the final episode's going to close out.